perfect craft doesn't exist. Wait a minute. In today's tutorial, we're playing with watercolor collage, and I dare you not to love it. Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell. Come on right in. Let's set up this desk. Let's get going. We're using a little watercolor set. I've got an extra palette. Grab all your brushes. It's a great chance to try out all your different brushes. And then I'm using hot pressed paper. You can see it says HP there. That means it has a really smooth texture, which is going to be nice if we decide to add some pencil, crayon, or marker later on. I've got clean water and I'm ready to get started. Now, today I'm thinking flowers that would be fun to do for a watercolor collage. Anything goes, BT dubs. Do people still say that? No, probably not. Anyways, anything goes, but I thought a geranium and a couple pansies would be really fun to do just because I love the shape of the geranium and I love the color and the contrast of the pansy petals. So we're gonna jump right in, and I'm thinking pink for my geranium blossoms. Now, I'm not painting blossoms. I'm just laying down some color, and I'll tell you why the collage is so great no matter your skill level, because you just get to practice and play. You can see me laying down a wash of pink, and then I'm releasing a little dark color, so practicing a little wet into wet. I did some blooms there where I released extra water, and then I lifted up some color, so did a little lifting. If you're interested in learning more about all of these watercolor techniques, I do have a wonderful beginner level e-course all about introducing you to watercolor in a way that is not stressful, in a way that is fun, and there's a focus on flowers. So check out my website if that seems of interest to you. But as I was saying, creating the color, the painted portion for these collages is just such great practice, because you're not painting pansies, you're not painting geraniums, you're just laying down color. So here I'm trying to mix different purples. You know, what happens if I add a little extra blue? What happens if I add a little extra magenta? Let's do some blooms where I release that water. Let's lift a little color and get these, you know, kind of funny lighter areas. Lifting is great for doing clouds and water, but it also just creates beautiful texture that we can use on our pansy petals. And then once we're done with our purples, and you could do 2 sheets of purple, you know, go crazy. We're gonna do some green, and you can see me lifting using a little bit of paper towel. So I'm kind of just playing around. And then to finish, I just did a little bit of yellow at the end for the very center of our pansies. So there's all our messy color. We have let that dry. We've got 2 huge sheets of colored paper here, painted paper. I'm grabbing my pencil crayons. I'm grabbing my markers. I have some blank craft paper greeting cards ready to go, because watercolor collage makes beautiful greeting cards, but you could do whatever. And then I have a little bit of light pink paper to layer on the cards. I've got glue, I've got scissors, yeah, and that's it. So let's get started. Now, to begin, I thought I'm gonna draw the petals and all the leaves, and then I'm gonna cut them out. And then good news, if you hate drawing, it was like so tedious and silly, and I was like, I would probably be better off just cutting out petal shapes and leaf shapes. Like, it's going to be so much more organic and less tedious if I just cut. And that's what I did, and it worked really well. And I was just kind of looking at pictures of pansies, looking at the shape of the petals, and just kind of going for it. And you can see me as I cut them out, I'm starting to lay out the flowers themselves so that I know I've got everything. And then I made a whole bunch of stem shapes and leaf shapes, and I made some little yellow bits to put in the center. And then we're going to grab our paper, or if you're just doing it right on the card, go to it. Grab your card. I can't talk today. And I started thinking, okay, I'm going to do 2 flowers, and I was just working on the layout. Where do they look good? You can see I kind of position them side by side in the upper corner, and then the stems are angled a little bit, so it's like a nice balance, I think. And it just took me playing around with it a little bit to figure out what was the best composition, kind of like doing a sketch. You're not sure where to place everything. You play around, you try some stuff, and you see what works and what doesn't. And during this process, you may realize I need an extra leaf or another little stem, and you just cut out more. And then there you are. First collage is done, at least the collage portion. You can see the beautiful watercolor texture on some of those leaves. I just love it. It's so folky and cute. We're gonna jump right in and just keep going with the geranium. So I cut out a bunch of kind of big floppy leaf shapes. The geranium petals, I was like, I have no idea what to do. So I cut out like some flower shapes and some teardrop shapes, and I needed a whole bunch of like thin little green stems. And then I just got into it. And you can see with the geranium, again, like the leaves, they have all this wonderful watercolor texture. Some are dark green, some are light, and it just looks so pretty. This was probably the hardest part of this whole project, was trying to do these really, really thin ones, trying to glue them down. Every time I glued them down, they would just stick to my fingers. Of course, you really need like tweezers or something for that. And then I got into the flower, and it actually looked better than I thought. I had just cut out all these lumpy bits and, as I said, some teardrop shapes, and it was like, yeah, this is working. This looks good. Then we needed a few more teardrop shapes for the buds there, and another leaf, and I think it looks so pretty. I was really happy with both of them. In some ways, I kind of wish I left it there, so consider just leaving it at collage and not adding anything. But I had an idea from the start that I was going to go in with some colored pencil or maybe even some markers and have a bit of fun kind of illustrating on top of the watercolor. And I do think that is pretty, and it's certainly like very relaxing and chill. It's almost like a coloring book because you know exactly where you want to color. And I drew some little tiny flowers on the geranium, like pink area, kind of went over it with pencil. I don't know how I feel about it. As soon as I started, I was kind of like, oh, maybe it just had more magic when it was more simple. But it's good to try different things and just see, like, this is just a 1 hour sort of little project that I took on, and I like the finished product, and I think the pansies turned out better. But you're always experimenting and playing around. And for the pansies, I was like, I really don't know how much pencil crayon I need to add or should add. And then I was like, did I go too far? This is just what's going on in my head. You've done too much. Stop. Why aren't you stopping? Stop now. Keep going? Okay. So I do really like the lines that I drew on the pansy leaves, and I like the lines on the dark petal, the back petal. With pencil crayon, you can actually erase, so I kind of softened the pansy out, and then I was really happy with it. For some reason, I kept going and added some marker to my geranium. And even though I think I like them better without the addition of the marker and pencil crayon, I mean, that part is fun and it makes it very colorful. I think it'd be great for kids. Once you are done, we're going to glue the paper onto our greeting cards, and they look so pretty. The layering of the paper with the collage, the watercolor, it's all just magic. It's very folky, simple. It's singing to me, and I hope you will try this out because it was really fun and experimental for me as well, and a very relaxing activity. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. My name is Shayda Campbell, and there is free artsy content here for all ages every week. Head over to my website if you're interested in that watercolor e-course for beginners, and be sure to find me on Instagram at Shayda Campbell for daily inspiration.